Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much, Aman, for joining us at Rising Bharat. We've had so many sessions in this room around Bharat and its opportunity. In fact, a couple of sessions ago, we had 3 entrepreneurs who are building for Bharat. So it's clearly a big theme. We will delve into that in a while, but just give us some perspective on insurance, the opportunity that you see today, because India's insurance penetration is still just 4.2% of GDP. So, how do you plan to reach the next 500 uninsured citizens? What are the key behavioral, cultural, and infrastructural shifts that are needed for that?
So thanks, Chandra. Thanks for having me here. Thank you to you and the News 18 team for having me and the InsuranceDekho group here. And to the question, I think we see a large opportunity in insurance in India. Insurance as of last year is almost a $132 billion market. And this is not a market size, TAM, SAM, etc., but this is actual cash changing hands and going from a consumer into a manufacturer's pocket, right? And that's the space that we are up for disrupting. And I think if you talk about those 500 million people who are uninsured, which is the missing middle, we see there are 3 things which can help insure this 500 million Indians. One of them is distribution, and that is what we are disrupting here at InsuranceDekho. We see today that large part of insurance in the country is coming from the top 20 cities. We have went down and built a distribution in the tier 2 and tier 3 markets of the country, right? That is how we build distribution, which again leads to more awareness for the product, right? So that's one. Second, I think the biggest cultural shift which needs to happen for insurance to pick up in the country. Today, insurance is looked more like a investment product, right? Which is to say, I invest certain money and I might get certain return at a future exigency, right? But can people start thinking of it more as a savings product, which is I'm saving for a rainy day, and tomorrow, if such an event comes in, right, I have to go for an hospitalization. It doesn't deplete into my bank balance, but it is more a pool that I can go into, right? So if that large cultural shift can come in, I think that would be one of the game changers. And we at InsuranceDekho have been at the forefront of building that awareness. We have about 2.4 lakh agent partners who work on our platform, and with these 2.4 lakh agent partners, we reached out to over 1 crore Indians over the last 5 years who have insured, right? We insure almost 20 Indians every minute, so that's the scale that we are at. Right? So that's 2. Third, I think what also needs to get built in is a lot more innovation and technology at play, right? If you have to reach these 500 million Indians, right, there we have to go out of the archaic processes which are today in insurance, where you don't need to build insurance through forms, etc., but build technology into play. And how can you power that, right? So I think these 3 things, Chandra, are to my mind, which can help and ensure these 500 million missing middle, which does not have insurance today.
Right. In a sense, Aman, you're this breakout insurtech company, because when you started up, there was already, I think, Policy Bazaar. You also had some of the bigger incumbents, the Bajajes, the ICICIs of the world. What do you think gave InsuranceDekho that edge? That, you could still come up trumps in a category that had incumbents, it had startups, it had innovators?
Correct. Thanks, Chandra. Great question. So I think, yes, you're right. When we started, we were the 6th player in the market, right? Today, we are the first and foremost by size. And I think 3 things which have again come and helped us. One is just our approach on GTM, right? As I was mentioning earlier, we saw that the tier 1 market is saturated, right? There is a lot of distributors, manufacturers which are already there. The penetration in the next phase of growth needs to come from tier 2, tier 3 markets, and these are under-tapped, underserved, right? So that's where we went out of. Today, 90% of our agent partners, almost a similar amount of our top line, comes from the tier 2, tier 3 markets. A good 50% comes from tier 3 and beyond, right? So this was a greenfield area, right? We could go in there and build a distribution. The second key thing that we did was, when we were entering into these markets, what we understood was that there was no steady set of insurance agents who existed, right? They were also there in the tier 1 markets. And on that, we have done a good bit of innovation to go out and have students, housewives, kirana shops, pollution check centers as the insurance agents who work with InsuranceDekho on the platform, right? And with these specific personas of insurance agents, there is an imminent risk with the trust with the end customer, right? Customers, they go to the same kirana shop, the same pollution check center, petrol pump every month, every week at a regular frequency, and there's already an imminent trust, right? And insurance, the biggest thing in insurance is trust, right? So we could piggyback on that insurance to go and distribute a product like insurance. Third has been disrupting different parts of the insurance value chain through technology. Right? And say when we were entering into the market, I joined the organization 5 years back. At that point of time, just to onboard an insurance agent would take us 5 days, multiple emails, etc. But the tech product team could bring in digitization thanks to the government and different bodies for bringing in India's tag, where onboarding has become much more easier. Today, if insurance agents has to get onboarded, they can get onboarded in 60 seconds flat. Second, what we also saw was that, say, a large amount of trust that we build with insurance agents who are the micro influencers to get customers on the platform, right? That is our ability to pay them their commission on time and accurately, right? Earlier, these used to be done over Excel, but now today what we can do is we have something called anytime commission. Any of our insurance agents who source insurance policies the platform can come in and withdraw their commission in real time. So it's almost an ATM equivalent. So technology coming at play and bringing a trust, right? But a large part of the disruption has also happened around claims and servicing, right? That is also how trust gets built for the existing customer. They come back to renew the policy. They also go in their friends and family circle and give us a lot of referral, right? So those are some of the plays, Chandra, that we have done on this focus.
Right. Aman, in the previous session, we had entrepreneurs who I said were building for Bharat. They are getting those users to pay for their services. How did you go about doing that? Because you said that, we decided that tier 1 was saturated, so we went after tier 2, and now we are going after tier 3. But insurance at some level is still an expense. I mean, one can argue that, okay, it's an investment, but you don't see the tangible benefits immediately. So, I mean, mentally, it's still an expense that you have to do every year. So how did you sort of go about convincing people, what was in it for them? Are people willing to pay for this in the Bharat market?
Correct, Chandra. So I think one of the biggest tailwinds that we have seen is COVID, right? When COVID, folks saw that they have
health
to
insurance was
spend
key.
some out of pocket on health insurance, right? In a market like ours, where 98% of the expenditure on health is out of pocket, right? Insurance covers only a limited 2% of it, right? So I think that gave us a lot of headwind. But I think just from our approach perspective, also 2 things which have come in very handy for us to build conviction around high ticket size, high engagement products, specifically on health and life insurance, are twofold. One is making it more affordable for the end consumer, right? So going from a one-time upfront payment to more EMI payment, right? Now we're also working with different manufacturers to say, is there a pay per day program that you can bring on insurance? So making it more affordable and you can spend it out of, right? So just make it equivalent to say that an insurance expense per day is equivalent to your 1 cup of tea at a chai shop near your office or something, right? So I think that is one thing on affordability. The second is case study, right? And in the markets like tier 2, tier 3 that we have gone to, right? Just convincing and building awareness with case studies, and a case in point is, hypothetically speaking, Aman is a consumer, right, who took health insurance, went through a certain instance, right, where they had to expense about 10 lakhs, which was say almost 3x, 4x of their annual salary, and insurance could come and help them, right? Similarly, people who were invested into products like savings product on insurance side, which is for a future event, to send their kids to college, to help them plan for a future event that they have, right? When these case studies go around in the community of influence, right, they help bring in a lot of trust, right? Because there is someone actually on ground who's benefiting from this, right? And those hyper-local case studies have been something which have been very helpful for us to build conviction around some of these large products and then also drive awareness.
Right. In terms of the opportunities that you see going forward, Aman, again, you've leveraged technology to map your customers, what their needs are, what their needs could be going forward. I'm sure you've built an analytics engine to gauge that. So what opportunities do you see beyond insurance? What can you cross-sell, upsell in the future?
Thanks, Chandra. So I think, yes, with distributors like us and tech-first distributors, right? I think the first and foremost moat that we've been able to build is having access to a lot of data, right? The entire insurance rails for us run through a digitized system. So we have a lot more data on consumers, which are these consumers who are coming in, what is the profile, at what part of the value chain are they dropping, right? And with these zillions of data points passing through the system, what that enables us to do is do three things, right? One is customize products for them, right? Which is we understood where's the drop off happening. Is it happening at price and feature, and how do we go back and work with our partners to customize products for them? Second is also just the cross-sell within insurance, right? So someone who came in and say hypothetically Chandra was a customer who came and bought an insurance for her car from the InsuranceDekho portal. And now we understand Chandra as a consumer. We also understand maybe health insurance or term insurance is something, the next product that we can sell to Chandra. The third, which we are also now doing small pilots around, and we'll see whatever is regulatory possible also in a space like ours, which is to say, again, with these end consumers, are there also scope for getting and expanding into other financial products, right? But there is a lot of richness of data which enables us to do all of this.
Right. Like any fintech, one of your most important stakeholders is the regulator. And the IRDAI has been very busy in the last 3 years. What does this mean for InsuranceDekho? Did it perhaps, slow down the growth that you would have otherwise seen because you had to comply to many of these new regulations and rules?
Chandra, I think the regulator, and I think in the last 3 years, number of regulations which have come in, and all of them have been very helpful. One, to build more trust amongst the consumers, right? Second is also to enable and democratize a lot of distributors like us. And some of them, case in point, are just like around expense of management, which allows accounting to be done in a more transparent manner, but then also just other things around simplifying claims, making manufacturers and distributors more accountable to paying out claims in real time, right? So in all of that, there have been a good slew of changes. We have seen the industry taking some time to adjust to these changes, right? So these we see just as maybe near-term hiccups, right? But all these regulations, if you just look from a mid to long term, are much more beneficial, right? These have been game changers, net, if I have to say so.
Right. Give us a sense of the competitive landscape. I mean, you have InsuranceDekho, you have listed players like PB Fintech, then you have the likes of Acco, Turtlemint, etc. Now there are reports about you and the Renew deal, which will value the combined entity at $1 billion. Again, what will this merger or what will this acquisition mean for InsuranceDekho to assert its dominance in this space?
So Chandra, not at liberty to share anything which is still not in the public domain and not authorized to comment on this. But I think net, we see the space is ripe for disruption, right? I think there are a number of tech-first players which are out there in the market. Consolidation, if and when that happens amongst any players, gives benefit of scale, right? And thus going more deeper into the market, right? I think the next phase of growth only has to come from tier 2, tier 3, right? So any of the players joining hands just to build disruption in that market and build that distribution will always be a net positive for the industry as such.
So when can we expect the official announcement on this deal?
Chandra, my apologies, Chandra. not at the liberty to comment on that.
Right. In a recent interview with Money Control, you mentioned that, your IPO is at least 18 months away. So given that IPO timeline stretching into early FY27, does this reflect caution around market readiness or a need to build more scale before facing public shareholders?
Correct, Chandra. So I think that's the public position, right? I think IPO is at least 18 months away for us. There is already a large amount of scale that we have built, right? The company is already at north of 4,000 crores of premium that we did in FY25. At that scale and size, though we're a distributor, but if you just stack rank against the general insurers, right? And the PSUs aside, on the private side, we'll be the 11th or the 12th largest player. At that scale and size, now there is much more that we need to do for our partners, for our end customers. and also solve for a lot of internal things, right? Just build the right committees, right teams, right processes in place, right? Which can hold a study after a public market, right? So those are the things which the team is committed to building over the next 12 months and doing a IPO listing post that.
Right. We're also seeing an interesting play in insurance, healthcare. Narayana, for instance, which runs a network of hospitals, got into insurance, and then we have PB Fintech, an insurance player, getting into healthcare or chalking out plans for that. How do you see this play? How will InsuranceDekho look at it?
Correct, Chandra. So I think that again a step in the positive direction, right? I'll just share a case in point for us. We had started with auto insurance as the first product at InsuranceDekho. We understood that, say, these 20 Indians that we insure every minute, they also need a lot of support and hand-holding through the claims process, right? So we went out and partnered with the preferred network garages, right? So which is a consumer, if they bought a policy through the InsuranceDekho portal, right? We provide them a superior experience through the garages that we have partnered with, right? Where they're able to jump the queue, get priority on service, get a number of add-on benefits, warranties, guarantees around the service that has been provided to them. And that, I think, has helped us, one, renew a lot of these customers. But then again, these customers have gone out, they built a very positive word of mouth in their network of influence, which has brought in a lot more consumers to us, right? So anything like this, where distributors like us are also getting into pseudo fulfillment of sorts, right, always helps build customer trust, right, and thus just increasing the entire penetration in the industry as such.
Right. So what are your moonshots over the next 18 months apart from an IPO?
So Chandra, I think one thing which I and the entire team internally is focused is with the advent of Gen AI, right? The entire landscape that we service today, right? It's just ripe for disruption, right? We as a team have made a lot of progress. We have bought in AI in different parts of the value chain. I'll just share an example. So see these 2.4 lakh agent partners who work with us, they would go out in the market and pitch products to consumers.
Yeah.
And if it's a more complex product like health or life, there are hundreds of options that an end consumer can have. It is not possible for our agent partners to remember the intricacies of each of these products, right? And each of these products differ from one another. But our tech product team got together to build a ChatGPT enabled chatbot for our agent partners. And say when they're going and meeting customers, they're able to put all these queries into the bot and get a response in real time. While they might have to call someone at the corporate office, look into the application, do other steps to find that answer. And now with that, what is also happening is there is a lot more data that is coming back into the system, which is enabling us to nudge these partners on how to pitch the products to end customers, right? So one, it is leading to a very transparent process from a sales perspective, but then also helping drive conversion for our agent partners, right? So while our agent partners would go and meet 10 customers and convert 3 of them, now that conversions and numbers are jumping almost by 20-25% as we have started bringing AI-enabled chatbots into the system, and that's just this beginning, right? There are other parts around renewal nudges, etc., where another AI has been able to help us build voice bots around this and put smart nudges, right? Which is again a benefit, right? Both in providing a superior experience to end customers, but then also driving scale for players like us.
Right. So just a follow up to that. Do you see the need to kind of resize your engineering team because of AI? Because there's this whole trend around vibe coding and, a lot of code writing is getting automated. So are you seeing engineering teams getting restructured because of that?
So Chandra, not
You
about...
mentioned the customer support angle, the sales angle, the chat bot, but how is this impacting your engineering teams?
Correct, Chandra. So just on the tech teams, I think, and we closely work with them, which is to say that just with the different tools which are now available with the advent of ChatGPT, it has made all our tech developers more productive, right? So if we were able to churn out hypothetically 100 things in a month, it has led us to achieving about 150, 180, right? So just making more productive and thus again helping us provide a superior experience to end partners, customers that way, right? So it's just coming in and helping us deliver on that vision of insurance for all by 2047.
Right. On that note, I think we're out of time. Thank you very much, Aman. Look forward to all your moonshots in terms of expanding the scope of InsuranceDekho. And of course, you hitting Dalal Street, giving company to the likes of PB Fintech, Digit, and the others. Luckily, among all the IPOing startups, the insurance category is still, doing well. So we'll hope to see InsuranceDekho make that cut. But thank you very much. A huge round of applause for Aman Batra.
Thanks,
Thank
Chandra.
you.
Thanks for having me.